Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. This is the Getting Started with Hubdoc webinar. So this is the nuts and bolts of Hubdoc and making sure that you know how to use some additional functionality and are getting more and more comfortable with your processes when getting documents into Hubdoc and also getting them through Hubdoc and into Xero. If you are relatively new to Hubdoc and you haven't done the certification courses yet, you haven't seen our Bookkeeping Meets Document Automation webinar yet, I definitely recommend letting us know, shooting us back an email, and we can send you a recording of that or a link to our certification courses, because they will be the best tools to get started. This is more of an advanced webinar, going through some more advanced functionality and some special features as well. So just some housekeeping. I am Dylan. I'm Head of Customer Experience here at Hubdoc. And today we're going to be using GoToWebinar. So there is the GoToWebinar panel on the right-hand side, and you will see that there's a questions box there. So if you can't hear me or if there's any issues, just post anything throughout the webinar in that questions panel, and I will get through to it at the end. So I'm more than happy to go through all questions. This is absolutely for you. So we'll go through all of those questions at the end of the webinar. So without further ado, let's kick it off and getting started with Hubdoc. So the first thing is obviously the landing page. You should probably be familiar with the organizations page at this point in time. And you should be confident with adding your first client there. So it will take you to your billing page. You would have entered your credit card details. And once you've done that, you've got this little window here. So the first thing I want to go through is adding clients and adding additional clients. And what email address should you be using in the email and confirm email fields? So if you do want the client to receive an email, you want them to receive email notifications when we fetch a new document, and you want them actively using the Hubdoc account, and you've made them aware of it, input the client's email here. And what will happen is they will be sent a link to their email address from Hubdoc immediately, and then they'll be able to click on that, set a password, and access their account. If you do want to maybe give the client access later down the track, but set it up for them initially, or if you don't want them to receive email notifications and things from Hubdoc, you can always set the email as a fake email address. So for example, if my client was DMB Constructions at gmail.com, if that was their email address, that would be what I'd use if I wanted them to receive emails and wanted them to access their account immediately. If I wanted them to go later down the track or not receive emails, you can use the email as like say dmbconstructions@fakeemail.com. And that will allow you to create the client, and we'll go through how to add the client as a user later on in the webinar. Perfect. So the other thing to note is when you use the first name and last name, use the client's first name and last name, because when they log into the Hubdoc mobile app or the web app, they will see their name on the account and it will say like, hello Dylan, for example, which is a much nicer experience for the client. The other thing to note here as well is obviously manage users is where you can manage employees. So click on that, enter your staff's email address, and they will come up here. Before they log into their account and set their first name and last name, it will come up with their email address. So that's not a problem. It just means they haven't gone into their account yet and set their first name and last name. Once you've set up your staff members, you'll have the option to grant them access to either all the clients or just a subset. You can always grant access to all of them and just revoke access from the couple that they don't need. It's probably quicker than going through and selecting them one by one. Perfect. So going back to the organizations page, a couple of other things to note on this landing page. The first one is the status column. So the status column essentially lets you know whether an integration, so somewhere where Hubdoc pushes documents to, like Xero, QBO, Dropbox, Google Drive, etc., has dropped out. So if that's dropped out, it will have an orange cloud icon there. So that's anywhere we push documents to. If there's an orange triangle, which I don't have an example of here at the moment, it means one of the connections that we fetch documents from, so say Combank or Bunnings, has dropped out. It may be because the portal's changed. It may also be because the client has updated their username and password. So you can definitely go through and check those by seeing that status page there. And when you do look at the status, you'll be able to click on it and it will tell you what's going on. So you can easily fix it, or if it's an automated connection, you can go into the account and go in there and refresh the connection, which we'll go through in a moment. So that is the main things on the organizations page. The other thing is the docs to review. So these are the documents that have been uploaded and extracted by Hubdoc and are waiting for you to publish them through to Xero. Perfect, so let's go into a client's account now and start looking at some advanced publishing features. Perfect, so when you take into the landing page, you should be familiar with the structure. So on the left-hand side is obviously the folder structure. Bills and statements is everything we fetch documents from. Uploads is everything that has been manually uploaded, whether that's by mobile app, email, or drag and drop. We also have a new one coming out. We have ScanSnap Cloud. So there's a direct ScanSnap integration with Hubdoc as well. And there's a webinar coming out on that in our May edition of our newsletter. So keep an eye out for that ScanSnap webinar. Super exciting to do that and showcase the power of ScanSnap and Hubdoc together. Obviously, when you've got the document stream, so you've got the All tab, which is everything in Hubdoc. New documents that are uploaded come to processing. Once they're extracted, they go into the review tab. Once they're sent through to Xero, they go to failed there. Once they're sent through to Xero, they go to archived. And if anything fails to extract, it will go to the failed tab there. Perfect. So let's go through, first of all, adding an automated connection and some of the things that you want to be aware of when adding automated connections to make sure that you're getting the most out of the fetch functionality in Hubdoc. And then we'll go through manual uploads. So the automated connections, the heart and soul of Hubdoc is our 230 or so automated connections. You can see our most popular ones here. You can also search for our connections too by using the search functionality. So you can see I've just searched for Bunnings there. If you don't have our full list of automated connections, please post that in the questions panel and we can send you a full list of Australian connections as a follow-up to this webinar. So adding an automated connection is super easy. You can either get the clients to do it on their own, or if you have an in-person meeting with them or a virtual meeting, you can get them to use a software like Zoom to control your computer and simply input their username and password as if they were logging on to the Combank portal. From there, Hubdoc is obviously going to fetch everything available and is going to bring it into Hubdoc. Now, the key thing to note is the minimum requirements we have regarding our automated connections. So the minimum requirements are that we do need e-statements to be available. So if you've set up an automated connection and it's fetching most of the accounts, but not all of them, it may be because the e-statements are not downloadable from the Combank portal. If you're having this issue, let us know. Reach out to us at support@hubdoc.com.au and we can give you some details on how to fix that. But essentially, it just needs to be updated on the Combank portal. Once Combank makes those documents available, we'll be able to fetch them. So the first one's e-statements. The next one is that they can't require tokens to log in. So if they do have one of those one-time tokens, they won't be able to use that to access their account in Hubdoc. A workaround for this is to use a read-only login, set up a read-only login. They don't require passwords, they don't require tokens. And so then you can use that in Hubdoc, that read-only login in Hubdoc. Once everything's fetched and filed in Hubdoc, there may be some accounts that you don't want us to fetch. So for example, if they've set up their account and they've got some mortgages or they've got some personal credit cards on there that you don't want access to, you can easily remove them from Hubdoc. So removing accounts is as simple as going to add account, go to hide accounts, and you can see there the two accounts that I have with Combank are both listed there. Say the 1390 is a personal account, just toggle stop fetching. That'll turn off the nightly fetch so that no new documents will be fetched for that account. And then all you need to do is just select that folder and drag it into the trash. Once it's deleted from the main folder structure, you can easily click on the trash and empty the trash there as well. Perfect. So that's a bit of the details around the automated connections. As I mentioned, on the status page, on the organizations page, if there's a connection that's having issues, you can come in here and you can click on the update accounts button next to that connection. That will refresh the connection and bring in any documents that are available. If the client has changed their username and password, then you will need them to come into Hubdoc and re-enter those. And if there's still anything that's been changed, so maybe the CommBank's made some changes to their portal that we need to update our connection to reflect, you can let us know by clicking report a problem, and we will get back to you within an hour, either with a fix or we'll escalate it to our developers to get that solved for you. Perfect. Now it's not just banks we fetch, obviously we fetch other online accounts such as Telstra, Bunnings, and the process with this to setting those up is exactly the same, and they're going to be filed under the bills and statements, just like CommBank was filed under bills and statements. You can then go through the process of publishing that document through to Xero. We're going to go through this publishing process in more detail with manually uploaded documents, but it's going to be the same process for automated connections. Perfect. So I'm just going to quickly check and make sure there is no questions just yet. And it seems like everyone is pretty good. Just remember to post your questions in the GoToWebinar panel throughout the webinar. Manual upload. So we are completely understanding that not every portal is available on Hubdoc and that clients are still going to need to send in paper receipts. So clicking on the add receipt button walks through this, and you can see that they've got the Hubdoc mobile app, they've got the email in functionality, and they've got the drag and drop functionality too. So what I'm going to go through today is I'm actually going to go through the email in functionality and how that works. So if I go to my email address there, I'm going to compose a new email. You can get the Hubdoc email address from here. So you can see submit by email. So you can copy that to clipboard. And this is customizable, and we'll go through that in just a moment. And then what you can do is, if there's information in the body of the email, you can put hashtag note so that it gets sent in as a note. So this is a really good feature. If you've got, say they include job number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Invoice, excuse me, invoice to be paid on 30th of April, and then hashtag note. So all you need is the hashtag note at the start and at the end, and it means the information in the body of the email won't get lost when the attachment is added. So I'm going to add an attachment here. I'm actually going to attach a couple of attachments. So I'm going to attach a Best Buy, and I'm going to attach a Tech Savvy. I'm going to open those. Cool, and then I'm going to send those into Hubdoc. So you can attach multiple invoices to the same email address and send it into Hubdoc. So you can see that message is sent. So if I come back into Hubdoc, our app updates almost instantaneously. So once that email comes through to the system, our system will pick it up and bring those two in. Now, the thing I want you to notice here is this blue clock and the fact that these are in the processing tab. So you can see there, blue clock processing, and then once the information is extracted, it's going to disappear out of the processing tab, and that means it's gone to the review tab. So you can see there, blue clock has been replaced by an orange triangle. It's in the review tab, and that means that it's extracted and ready to be published through to Xero. Also note that there is a little note in the top right hand corner, and that note that I included using hashtag note in the body of the email has been included up the top of the document as well. So I know that I need to put this to job number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've added a tag for this, so I'm actually going to drag it onto that tag so that all my job number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 documents are grouped together. And from there, I can open up my right-hand side and start publishing this through. So let's check the data extraction. Perfect, it all looks good. From there, it's purchased, it's authorized, it's going to the right contact, and it's going to general expenses. So all I need to do is just click publish and proceed. That's going to publish that document through to Xero, move it out of the review tab, and it's going to move on to the next document. Follow that same process, and as you can see, all of that information's already been pre-populated, and then you can publish and proceed as well. So if this is the first time you are seeing that document, you can fill that information out down the bottom, and that will update the settings, and remember that going forward. Now, as you can see, the orange triangle is now gone, and it's now a green tick, and those documents are in the archive tab. So if I go to archive, you'll see that that orange triangle has turned into a green tick, and this is where the documents are located. Going across to Xero, if I refresh my page, you can see that there's a couple of transactions. So you've got the Best Buy transaction and you've got the Tech Savvy transaction. Our API with Xero updates instantly, so those two are both transactions that have come in from Hubdoc. And then from there, you can actually see if I open up one of these transactions, source documents attached, all of the information's there. If you needed to apply tracking categories, you could have done that within Hubdoc as well. And you see a copy of the source document that's obviously attached too. Perfect. So let's go through setting up Hubdoc and also looking at some more advanced settings with Xero as well. So setting up Hubdoc in Xero, so click on accounts in the top right, go to destinations, and there'll be a connect button next to Xero there. So you want to connect up Hubdoc, you want to choose the client from the Xero list. You also need to make sure you have administrator access to be able to connect that up fully. You then want to choose publish tax data if the client is registered for GST, and choose GST on expenses and GST free expenses as your default tax rate and your default tax exempt rate. And that will allow Hubdoc to start the GST extraction process for you. Another thing to note when you are setting up the account for the first time is that you do want to change the intake emails. As I mentioned, this is customizable. It will always end in at app.hubdoc.com. But at the start, you can change the prefix to be the name of the company. So in this case, Sunshine Shipping at app.hubdoc.com. So you can save that there. And the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that auto extract tax amount is turned on so that we auto extract the GST from the documents. So they're the main things that you need to do before setting up, before the client uploads any documents. You just get Xero set up, change their intake email, and set up data extraction. Amazing. So let's actually go through some advanced settings. So as I mentioned, you can make the changes to the settings down here on the destinations, which in the section that we call the edit data bar. So this panel is called the edit data bar. But if you want to make global changes, you can also do this at the accounts level. And because it's manual uploads, it's a manual account, I want to make the changes here. If you look in the Xero column, you can see that there's green ticks there. So everything with a green tick means it's got rules set up for Xero. So I'm going to go in and set up my rules for Jetstar. So I'm going to choose my destination, configure rules for Xero. I want it to actually auto sync. So I want this to automatically publish to Xero. So rather than going through the review process in Hubdoc, I want Jetstar documents to go straight through to Xero. So you can do that. You can skip that review tab and that review process in Hubdoc and automatically publish to Xero using that auto sync function. So this is a really awesome way to start moving towards that code-free accounting workflow that Hubdoc and Xero do help you achieve. So use the auto sync functionality. I do still want to double check it in Xero though, so I'm going to change it to draft there. And then I'm going to have my contact name as Jetstar, so that's all set up. So I'm going to save that. Cool. So now if I upload a Jetstar document, let's actually have a look what happens here. So I'm going to upload a Jetstar transaction. Again, comes in with a blue clock on it. Document is available. And what you're going to see is rather than that blue clock being replaced by an orange triangle, you can see it's actually been replaced by a green tick. And what that means is it's obviously been auto-published to Xero, and you can see this in the edit data bar by scrolling down, and you see the state in Xero is published, and you can see that it was published by AutoSync. So if I go over to my draft bills in Xero, and you'll see there's a Jetstar transaction that created automatically for me via Hubdoc without any intervention whatsoever. So all you need to do with Hubdoc is you do need to set up your rules. You want to choose whether you want to review the documents in Hubdoc or publish them through to Xero automatically. There's going to be a review process initially because you obviously need to be double checking the data is accurate. So if you want to auto-publish, probably auto-publish to draft initially, and then you can start thinking about publishing to authorized automatically. Simply approve that transaction there, and that's going to go straight to my bank feed nice and simply. So that was one click, and then it's in my bank feed in Xero simply by uploading that document. So this gives you a bit of an indication on the power of Hubdoc and Xero. And what we'll do now is we'll just go through any questions that you've got, because we've kind of covered everything that we need to in terms of advanced publishing with Hubdoc. So you've got your automated connections. You should know how to troubleshoot them now and make sure that those feeds stay accurate by checking the organizations page and the status column. If there is anything that's amiss with the automated connection, update accounts. If there's anything wrong, report a problem. You need to have e-statements enabled, or you need to have, and you need to make sure that there is no tokens on login. And if all of that is the case, then that's how you manage your automated connections. From a manual accounts point of view, you've obviously got mobile app, email in, or drag and drop. You can customize that email, and then if you wanted to email in documents, you can also use hashtag note to add notes to those documents. Now talking about publishing, you can publish using the edit data bar and configuring the rules there and publishing out of the review tab, or you can set rules at the global level and enable auto-sync so that they auto-publish through to Xero. Setting up Xero, obviously go through and choose the connect button. If they are registered for GST, make sure you use publish tax data and then turn on auto extract GST in the settings page. So that's everything we've covered today and a bit of a summary of it. Now over to the floor for any questions that you may have. Okay, so we've got one question here that's a really good question, and they said that they have clients that put all of their PDFs, all of their invoices in one PDF. And how does Hubdoc handle that? It's a really good question. Now, if you've got multiple page PDFs with each invoice on a separate page, all you need to do is choose multiple item file there, and then you just upload that PDF as multiple item file. So just select that before dragging it in. Choose that one document. So you can see that one PDF there. I've selected multiple and then I've uploaded it. And then if I come into Hubdoc, you'll see that all 4 of those transactions within that document have been uploaded instantaneously. And that's, all been split out as well. The way to do this via email is to make sure that you include hashtag split in the subject of the email. So if you send an email in, make sure that hashtag split is in the subject before sending it into Hubdoc, and that same process will occur for to split those transactions out. Really good question. And the final question for the day, lucky last, is how long is the data stored in Hubdoc? Really good question. Hubdoc provides unlimited data storage, so you can store as many documents in as you want in Hubdoc, and it is unlimited time. So as long as the account is open, Hubdoc will store those documents for you, so that if your client gets audited 4, 5, 6 years down the track, they'll be able to access Hubdoc login and see that information. And an amazing part about this too is that if your client does stop paying for their account, or if they're no longer using it, you can put it into a non-paying state, and that will freeze the account, but it'll freeze the functionality, sorry, but your client will still be able to log in and access those documents. Amazing. Well, I just wanted to say thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. If you do have any additional questions that you didn't get to ask, or if there's anything else that comes up after it, you can easily submit a ticket within the app by using the top right-hand corner there. You can also email us at support@hubdoc.com.au, or you can call us on 08 7444 5026. So 08 7444 5026. So once again, thank you everyone for joining today's webinar, and have a great afternoon. Cheers.